Hi, Tim Sells here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a lady that announced in the Telegram group. She said she never wants to meet me again. All right. And so what it had to do with, this is the specific thing she said. She goes, I never want to meet you again and not know the answers to simple questions. Gosh, never, ever want that to happen. So what question did I ask her? All right, so here's the appalling question. What are the friendly identities in sequence? Okay, that's the simple question that I asked her. All right, and so she then posted it, and it was a very nice thing. She's a very, very kind and nice lady, and just want to walk you through what this whole discussion was about. All right, so we had met, and I was kind of coaching her. And I just asked her, what were the friendly identities that I had been discussing on these videos for the last several weeks? And what is the sequence? All right, and that threw her off. So here are the friendly identities. And if you're new here, I kind of take on this idea that you put on a jacket and it's an identity, right? It's not any different than my 5-year-old who puts on a Spider-Man costume, and he literally is Spider-Man to him, right? And all right, I got to tell you this quick little thing. So he was 4 years old. He had on a skeleton Halloween costume, and he was absolutely certain that anybody he walked near, they were going to be frightened to death. Okay, but he's this big, right? So anyway, so you get the idea about a kid putting on an identity, right? And so that's what these are. And so what they are is responsibility, the reason something happens or doesn't happen, ownership, responsibility for all that affects your business, accountability, get the results no matter the excuse, commitment, do the reps every day, and then number 5, showing up, fired up to win the day. Okay, so why did I say it? Give it to me in sequence. It's because I view that identities are in priorities. In other words, wait a minute, what? So this would be senior to this one, and this one would be senior to this one, and so forth. And there's a particular reason why I do this is because when I'm stuck on one of these, I need to first jump up to what was senior to it and really, really get a very, very strong, like, I know what this is. I am this identity. Okay? And then I'll come back down. So I'm going to give you an example in just a second. And so then over here are the enemies to your goals, and these are friends to your goals. And so enemies would be procrastination, distraction, confusion, old habits and routines, playing victim, invalidation of self, right? So why did I ask the question? I wanted to assist her in how to be an identity, all right? So let me give this to you. So here's an example. Problem-keeping commitment. Okay, so let's just say that that's a problem for a person. And what are the commitment? Well, do the reps every day. What's the reps? It's moving prospects across the pipeline every day. All right, so if you have a problem with that commitment, so jump up one level, study accountability because it's one level above it. Get the result no matter the excuse. That's what accountability is. Commitment is do the reps every day. Can you see how this is senior to this one? If you don't have this accountability identity that says, I'm going to get the results no matter what excuse, then you wouldn't, if you had that, if you were being that identity fully, then you would have no problem with commitment. And so, now how do I do this one? Okay, so I would jump up one level, study accountability, make 10 to 20 examples how that has worked and has not worked. All right, that's strange. How's it worked and how's it not worked? How's it worked? How's it not worked? All right, so I used to have on my desk a book about identities, and it is a Kumon book, and it is for a young child to learn how to differentiate one thing from another, okay? So I want you to just picture that this water bottle and this computer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, these things are the same thing. Okay, so how would I kind of lock myself from that stupidity to, well, it would be easy to say, okay, so that one has a screen, this one doesn't have a screen. Well, how are they similar? Well, this has a lid and that has a lid. How are they different? Well, that one's got a keyboard, this one doesn't have a keyboard. The more you do that, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, the more you differentiate, you separate out, and you are able to see how this is different than this. All right? Now, what does that do for a person? I remember doing this for my son. He thought that anything with a wheel was a car. So if a truck went by, an 18-wheeler, he would say car. If a motorcycle went by, he'd say car. I ended up pulling up to in a parking lot, and there happened to be a bus and a car and a motorcycle. And so I had him differentiate. I said, how many wheels? Right? Look at the handlebars versus steering wheel. Look at the spokes on the tires instead of wheels. Right? So I caused him, and I caused him to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that created his certainty on what a motorcycle was, what a bus was, and what a car was. Okay, so that's the reason that I do this, is that I want to get like really, really certain. And certainty is the key thing that I'm looking for. I want to have certainty. I get absolute certainty on the accountability identity. And then I do the same for commitment. Okay, creating examples back and forth helps with differentiation. It's how you gain certainty on identities that you want. All right, or don't want. Okay, so I showed you also the enemy identities. I don't see them as priorities, okay, because I don't see that they work that way. What I see is you've got procrastination, distraction, confusion, old habits, and routines, victims, and wishy-washy. And then you've got self-invalidation, and I kind of see that as the center point, that particular one creates doubt, that which reduces power. Okay, and so this is how a person reduces power, but I have seen most often that it's self-invalidation. Okay, you can kind of see, and this happened in my life, where I was in school, and it was Mr. Rowe's class, and we were learning fractions and decimals. It was fractions and decimals. And then he moved into, he said X equals. And I couldn't understand why the alphabet was in a math equation. And I got confused. I invalidated myself and thought that I was stupid. And I wore the I'm stupid identity for probably 20 years, 15 years. Okay? I had that. It was one of those down deep, that's who I really am. Everything else I'm faking. That was kind of what was going on. And so I don't see this as priorities as I do on the other identities. Okay, so now there's what I've shown you are the identities that I have found to be, I'm going to go back here, sorry. Okay. I've shown you here, these are the identities that I've seen in almost every facet of success, right? Whether it be in network marketing or anything else, this wins battles. This wins in business. This wins in building relationship. This always wins, okay? Now, when I go, I'm going to jump back over here. So these are the ones that I chose. And I'm putting this up partly to share with you that you can choose any identity that you want. But the other reason that I'm showing this is that you're going to find that you have a sense of multiple identities already. And a lot of people say, well, that's who I am. This is just who I am. Well, no, you've decided an identity that you are, that's you, right? But that's really a scarcity of identities, because you'll notice that, like, I live on a farm. I put on this suit. This is an identity. It's an identity of professionalism. And I do it every time I do a video. Okay? I do it every time I show up to do events or business meetings or anything like that. I have hundreds of millions of dollars of sales within my organization. So now you kind of look at it and you say, okay, so that's not a fake identity. That is actually putting on a jacket and saying, I'm a professional, and I am. And it's not a delusion, not even illusion. Okay? But what you're going to find here, you can just kind of look at these. This is just a list of adjectives from A to D, and you can find these. You can search them on the internet. Okay, so some of them won't quite fit, but so I'm just going to go through this, and I'm going to show you how you can just switch and just kind of put it, right? So adorable. Okay, so can you kind of see the way that a baby or a child puts on the adorable identity, right? You're seeing it as that way. And, the little girl comes in and she's curling her hair, and she's asking daddy for something. Well, he's going to give her whatever she's asking for, right? Because she's adorable. Okay. Adventurous identity. Okay. Habit, big time. Me. Okay. I'm extremely adventurous. Is curious on there? Yeah. I am a ridiculously curious person. That's an identity I put on, right? So aggressive. In the military, I had that identity, big time. Agreeable, alert, alive, amused, angry. You ever see somebody who has on that jacket all the time? I mean, there was a guy in the military that we used to say, he wakes up every morning, looks in the mirror and goes, I hate life. He had to do that because of the attitude. He was just always angry. Okay? Annoyed, annoying. You ever be as a kid annoying to your parents on purpose? Okay. You can sit in a room and, you have to go to, I don't know, I better not say in-laws' house. I'm just giving the idea, right? I love my in-laws. So, but you didn't really want to go, but you agreed to go. And so you're sitting there and you're like, right? So you put on that identity. That's all that you're doing. You can put on curious. You can put on agreeable. You can put on any identity that you want. Okay, so you can go through here, cautious. I know a lot of people who are very, very cautious. Bored, right? My kids, anytime I won't let them play video games, they go, I'm bored. I'm like, all right, good. Go pick up pine cones in the yard. I'm not bored all of a sudden, right? So you can kind of see how these things can just take on. But what happens is that you take on some of these identities and they all merge together and you think that's you. Okay, and it is. But you can have some that you don't want and you can remove those. And you can have some that you don't have that you do want. And in network marketing, there are certain characteristics, traits, virtues, however you want to name this thing that I'm calling an identity. I like it as an identity because I put on a coat to be professional, right? Okay. And some of the other ones, defiant, defeated, dangerous, depressed, doubtful. The psychiatric world has created a label on people who put on a depressed hat, right? Isn't it kind of crazy? Because the person can turn it off if he wants to. Right? So cooperative, comfortable, concerned, cheerful. All right. So this is what I want, okay? I want certainty and direction identities. That's the kind of identities that I want to always have. And it's the ones that I chose. It's the ones that have been very, very effective for me for, gosh, probably 40 years. And so what I don't want is any of the identities that have a wishy-washy part to them. Okay? I want to be just very like direction. I want to push forward, and I want to attain, or I don't want to even play the game at all, right? That's the way that that's the attitude that I have. So my question for you, if you would comment down below, is what identities do you want? Okay, so maybe you've never even pondered it, right? Maybe you've never even thought, wow, I didn't even know that I could do that. I never saw it as that. Okay, it's fine. But now, well, what do you want? What identities do you not want? Okay, so do you find some characteristics of yourself where you go, you know what, I want to get rid of that. Okay, and just share. All right, and so then also please like and comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already done so and you'd like to. And we also have a Telegram group you can join. So I appreciate you watching this.